Long-time viewers of the channel might remember the time that I recorded this video.
My why, my vision, is to be able to use my skills, experience and money to help others achieve their maximum potential. And when I say it, I just know I'm on to something because it speaks to this. I literally get goosebumps when I talk about this sort of stuff.
And who, after having that realization, making a whole video about it and broadcasting it to the world, would be stupid enough not to act on that feeling when he approached a crossroads in his life, sort of wondering which way to turn next with respect to career? Me. Yeah, I did that. In fact, that's exactly the sort of thing that I would do. I think the reason that happened was because although after finishing my last yachting job, I really wanted to jump straight back into work on a super yacht, I was held back by the fear of it not working out as a business. You know, my vision for it is not just a hobby channel. I would like to grow it into something bigger. I'm not sure exactly how that would look, but I've just got a sneaking suspicion that it would do well, you know, that there's something there. But I had this financial worry hanging over me of sort of, well, how is it ever going to make any money? And so I know that's part of business. You know, if I'm going to set out on an adventure into the unknown, there is going to be a certain degree of risk. But I guess that's just not what I'm used to, having worked on yachts for so many years, where sort of finances were so easy for me to predict. I could project 1, 2, 3 years into the future. I knew exactly how much I was going to be earning. I could work out when I was going to get that next qualification, which would allow me to take that next position and allow me to earn that extra money in terms of salary. So that kind of made me hesitate. And you know, I've really been wrestling with this for the last 4 or 5 months. Don't worry, I haven't just been sat on the sofa watching Netflix. You know, I've been wrestling with this. On the one hand, having this idea for work on a super yacht. You know, it's really the only thing I've done in my working life in the last 15 years where I thought I was actually doing something worthwhile, actually giving something of value to the world. So something I really wanted to do. And then on the other hand, having this worry of, oh yeah, but how is it going to look? And, you know, what about the money? And although it's okay in the short term, I don't just want to burn through all of my savings. So I've just been juggling this and wrestling with it. And I'm sorry that I haven't kept you updated about it, but I don't think that would have been a good idea either, because, you know, my feelings of this have changed day to day, week to week. And so if I was sort of giving updates about it and trying to keep you posted on the situation, it would just be a load of mixed messages. So that's where we've gotten to date. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. That is the sound of a budgie. Adriana has a budgie. His name is Kenzo. I bought 4 fish a few weeks ago. They don't have names and they won't be getting names. But anyway, that's a completely different story. Now, some of you might be saying, well, you're just making this much harder than it needs to be. Well, why not just get a job? Well, to be blunt, because I don't want a job. I want to do something, or rather build something of my own. In addition, the job's not really going to work for me bouncing between Poland and the UK, as I am making full use of that wonderful post-Brexit 90 days in any 180-day period. For all you Brits out there, don't worry, it does work as long as you keep a log of your EU days. You won't have any problems, or at least I haven't, except for people behind me getting very annoyed at passport control because they spend about 5 or 10 minutes wading through the pages of stamps in my passport, trying to work out whether or not I am over or under those magical 90 days. So that being said, no job, thank you very much. recently I started another business. I'm not going to tell you anything about that now, maybe do that in the future. But the other business allows me to generate profits in the short term, which kind of ticks that financial box to a degree. It doesn't fire me up in the same way as work on a super yacht, but yeah, obviously money is important. And so it's given me a little space to look back again now to work on a super yacht and think, well, it doesn't have to be all or nothing. Why can't we run the two side by side? The money on this side from the other business and the fulfillment, use of my experience, dare I say it, passion on this side with work on a super yacht. And that's kind of where I've got to. I'm thinking, let's just do that without all this huge pressure, this huge financial pressure of, what's it going to be like? What about this? Sort of blowing the work on a super yacht thing up into a big mountain that I have to climb and I can't work it out, which kind of can lead me to doing nothing. Instead, why not just do something with where I am? And it's been reminding me of a quote that's helped me out a lot actually in the last few years. I first heard it from Eric the Hip Hop Preacher. Check him out on YouTube, motivational speaker, really unique. I really like his style. And the quote is, start with what you have, because what you have is plenty. And this really helped me out actually in the early days of the YouTube channel, because back then I was looking at Jared Watney and the Super Yacht Captain, and I was thinking, well, how can I ever compete with that? They're much better videographers, they've got better equipment, they can film more yachts, more interesting stuff than I can. How am I ever going to compete? But the quote stayed there in the back of my mind. Start with what you have, because what you have is plenty. And so that's exactly what I did. I took my phone for a camera and a microphone. It was a Google Pixel 2 XL. Unfortunately, it's since found itself at the bottom of Zia Marina in Athens, but nevertheless, that sorted me out. Then I took my laptop as it was. I downloaded some free video and photo editing software, and I got started with where I was. And back then I had just one goal, and that was to help one person. And truly, that was all I wanted to do. I thought if I could help one person making these videos, then it will have all been worthwhile. And I remember back then actually, wanting so desperately to get a comment that let me know that someone had found it useful and someone had found it helpful. And I was working with Julian Deckhand at the time. You might remember he helped me out on one of my line handling videos. One morning I woke up, notification. So Julian, got a comment. I've got a comment. Looked at the comment, spam. Oh no. Huge disappointment. Anyway, a couple of videos later, a couple of weeks later, I finally got my first comment. Turned out I had helped someone. In fact, according to you guys, I've helped more than one person. So it turned out that what I had was plenty. I started with what I had and I got going. And of course, the channel grew to where it is now. And so, I must do that again now. Of course, the vision's greater. It's not just wanting to help one person now. But I don't need to sort of worry about that. Instead, just start with what I have, because what I have is plenty. And I'm actually taking my advice quite literally, because you'll notice that the quality of this video is, quite frankly, rubbish. Reason being because I'm using my phone, which is not a Google Pixel 2 XL. It's not very good at all, actually. My camera is back in England. I'm back to England on Sunday. But I was going to wait, and then I thought, no, start with what you have, because what you have is plenty. So I've got my camera. I don't even have a stand. It's propped up on a 4-pack of Marks & Spencer's cider, not mine, I hasten to add. But Adriana likes cider, and we can't seem to get it here in Poland. So here I am, sat on the floor, rubbish camera, stand made of 4 cans of cider. To wrap this thing up, give you, I hope, a bit of value, I'd encourage you to apply this in your own life. I have a perfect example of this, someone who is looking to get started in yachting. A couple of years ago, I was mentoring a guy who was living in England. I'll preface this by saying this isn't the advice I'd give to everybody, but he was living in England. He hadn't worked on super yachts before, but he was working in the boating industry, so he had a bit of experience. He'd done all of his courses, and he was wondering, oh, well, maybe I'll just wait until next year. I mean, it was perfect time for him to go and look for work. It was May, June time. Maybe I'll just go next year. Maybe I'll do a few more courses, he said. And actually more videos coming about courses, because I feel like some of you might be getting upsold a load of courses that you don't need to be doing, at least at the beginning. So want to do a few videos about that, help you save some money. Anyway, he was thinking, I'll do another course, maybe get some more money together, because then I'll be able to support myself for longer in the south of France or Mallorca or wherever he was going to go. And I said to him, look, you're in a good position. You've got the courses. You've got some money in the bank, more than enough to book yourself a fly to Antibes, or not fly to Antibes because you can't do that, but fly to Nice, get yourself to Antibes, booked into a crew house. You're in rented accommodation that you can sort of leave short notice. You can leave your job short notice. I said, you're in the perfect place. Just get yourself there. What you have is plenty. Get yourself there. I said, you don't have to worry about the money side of things. You're blowing this up into something bigger than it is. You'll inevitably get some day work. You'll be able to pay your way. I said, look, you don't have to take my advice, but if it was me, I would just go. In fact, that's exactly what I did do whenever it was 11 years ago. It's what I do again. I said, I'd just go. So he took my advice, paid off, didn't it? I think he had day work within days, maybe a week or two. Shortly thereafter, secured his first job. He's gone on to do very well. So just a good example, and I know that's not the same advice I give to everybody, but just a good example of start with what you have, because what you have is plenty. And so that's what I'm going to do now. Just strip it back to basics, start with what I have, go back to what I was doing at the beginning. The weekly video, I know that hasn't happened for a while, has it? But the weekly video, active in the comments, finding out what people are interested in, what people want to know, making videos about it. See where it goes. I might just surprise myself. For those of you who are still watching, thank you for sticking with me. I know this is kind of almost just a bit of a public diary for me at this moment, but I think it's good to show you this, especially if you are thinking of a yachting career, because this is all going to be part of it. It's likely that you're going to want to come back to land one day, and you might have these same feelings and worries to wrestle with as I am. And maybe it'll help you to see that not all of us have got it figured out. In fact, very few of us have it figured out. I most certainly do not have it figured out. So again, thank you for watching. I'll leave you again with that quote. Start with what you have, because what you have is plenty, and I'll see you again next week.